I talked to Kara yesterday. I was taking a walk around 5. I met a new friend last night, a friend of a friend, this girl Malia. We went to Tallahassee food trucks last night, hung out with her for hours.
I'm Lindsay B, justice seeker, story keeper, and we're still watching, waiting for justice.
Hello, everyone. What is today? Thursday? I just thought I would jump on before I go out of town. And I mean, none of these stories are really all connected, but this boat tragedy, and I know, Melissa, you've been commenting, it's just like every day I wake up to see like what is the latest. And it is so sad, when things like this happen and then the personal stories start coming out, it breaks my heart. And then I start researching. I just think it's a really tragic, tragic accident. But hey, everybody, I'm Leslie B. I'm not an attorney. Everything I say is my opinion. But welcome. Sorry, it took me a few minutes. I had to reset the intro and outro videos. I still had the one set from the book club. So I have different opening and closing videos depending on what the live is about. But as I mentioned, we won't have book club this coming Sunday because I'll be out of town. But I'm excited to wrap that up. And it's such a great book. But hello, I'll say hi to everyone. Melissa and Susan. Peachy, you said you came straight from the first self-righteous church in Pascagoula where squirrel is on the menu. You youngins won't know the song. That's funny. Hey, Ruth Ann. Hey, little Miss Red Velvet. How is everything for you? You're having some tea? Peachy just finished tea. Food truck. Yeah, I played the intro with the food truck because I think the food trucks are getting talked about again a lot. But that's why we're the food trucks here, is because towards the end of her interview, Wendy mentions going to the food trucks the night before Dan was shot. And there's just a lot of coincidences with that. But maybe tomorrow, since tomorrow's July 17th, everyone should go to a food truck. Hey, Riding Shotgun, good to see you. Yeah, Melissa says, it seems the people stuck inside were the elderly. Yeah, I was just going to tell y'all about the boat, what's going on, or what I have read. I'll share some news clippings. Melissa, I understand you're driving. No problem. Happy you're here. Hey, Marianne, good to see you and everybody. Oh, by the way, has anybody been following that Nolan Wells case in Mississippi? I'm just curious what everybody's thoughts are. But so let's get into it. So Tuesday afternoon around 3:30 in San Francisco, there was a distress call, Coast Guard call, and it was for this boat that I'm showing on the screen. And people were saying it was on fire and, all these different, I don't know, comments, but they were saying it was on fire and they were saying it was a pontoon boat, which we now know it's not a pontoon boat. It's actually, it starts with a T, a treller, which would be kind of like a fishing type, but it's really like a cabin cruiser. But it is just horrific when you start reading about it. But I made this video. It's really not so much a video as it is like news articles and clippings. But so it was Tuesday about 3:30, and we now know that it was like 19. Was it 19 people or 20? Let me think about that. Might have been 20 people and a dog were on board. And they were spreading the ashes of a loved one, Maria. And she died of an unaliving in 2016. So it had been 10 years and they were spreading her ashes, y'all. And this was her family and friends. And I think it was her parents and maybe aunt and uncle. We'll kind of get into that in a minute. But she was 33 years old 10 years ago. And apparently she was an avid surfer. and they decided to spread her ashes on the bay. So apparently they had this boat who is one of her family members. I believe it was her uncle, if I'm doing the family tree correct. And they left the yacht club there in the bay. They went to Angel Island, which I think is kind of north of where Alcatraz is, if I'm right. And they went to Angel Island. When you think about it, the name Angel and Ashes, I don't know. It's just, as soon as I heard that it was a bunch of people on a boat and somebody said a memorial, I said, uh-oh, this is going to be ashes or something. This is just horrific. So let me find. So I did go to see if I could find like an obituary or anything for Maria. And I couldn't. This is kind of like those generic things. I think they're kind of AI generated. But like I said, she was an avid surfer. But people had posted some comments and things on this. I was really saddened. This was in 2020. I'd worked with her. She was an employment counselor. My son, Brian, who knew Maria, she was a wonderful influence, helped during his own life battles. He's doing great now, but the news of Maria brought sadness to his heart. He wanted to say how much he appreciated her concern and help, how she was a wonderful spirit that touched his soul. May God bless her always. And then I went over to Reddit, and I found that this was like 10 years ago on Unresolved Mysteries, Maria Boisa. So a lot of people were just talking about that she would surf over in Big Sur. If y'all have ever been on the PCH, it's a beautiful area, Big Sur, but lots of surfers go there. Cliffs, I mean, it's beautiful. Dangerous, but beautiful. Some people were speculating, did she drown? What happened? And then people were saying they heard it was an unaliving, but you can read a lot about that. So I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but I just thought I would share that. So back to Tuesday. So this is the boat, y'all. So just imagine you're on this cabin cruiser. So they probably left that morning, went to Angel Island. And I mean, a lot of the people, the captain was like 62 years old, and then people were in their 70s. So these aren't like a lot of, young, able people. And something happened. We don't know what. And it just started sinking. And people were in that cabin and they were stuck. And so the 3 still missing, they believe are probably at the bottom of the bay in the cabin. And it's like 130 feet deep. I mean, this is just horrific. Yeah, elderly. So they don't even know how they're going to get this boat up. But there have been stories. I mean, I still think somebody today was commenting the pontoon boat. It's not a pontoon boat. Because at first I thought, why is someone in a pontoon boat in San Francisco Bay? If y'all have ever been out there and like been to Alcatraz, it's rough waters. We've done that tour a few times. Yes, on Nolan Wells. Yeah, I'll get back to that in a second. Oh, sorry, little Miss Red Velvet. Y'all got knocked out of the World Cup, England. I know. Yeah, I'm not sure on the Nolan Wells thing either, but I'm going to do some more digging on it. Yeah, phone data will be key. Yeah. So the captain, they say, yes, is an experienced boater. He's 62 years old. And y'all, I feel so bad. It was his brother that died. And then I think it's the brother who died. His name is Clifford. And he was 79. So they rescued him from the water and did CPR, but he died. And then the 3 that are missing are Clifford's wife and one of Maria's friends and someone else. We'll get to it because I found it in here. Okay. So who owns it? I just clipped together these things and made a little talking point. So it's named the Volaire. It's a 49-foot cabin cruiser, and it capsized, and it's owned by a Stockton, California man. Yeah, they have said now in the press conference, the Coast Guard said there's no evidence of a fire, but we don't really know because it could have. We just don't really know. But the vessel is owned by 62-year-old John Boyza of Stockton. He is also listed as the captain. The cabin cruiser was carrying 20 adults when it overturned roughly 600 yards off Alcatraz Island. And just if y'all haven't ever been out there, I mean, this is not like warm waters like Gulf of Mexico, like Southerners are used to going to. Like the warmest I think they said it could get this time of year might be 60-degree water. And just so you know, that is really cold. I mean, a swimming pool is going to be in your high 80s to be comfortable, or mid 80s. Like swimmers might like it about 80 degrees. So imagine 20 degrees. Isn't that horrific? But do you see right here? Let me move Kathy's comment on the screen. You can see my cursor. No, you can't see it. But kind of bottom left corner, there's a little head right there. I think that might have been the captain based on the photos I've seen. I don't know, but see these people, they're standing on the boat because you see these little windows down here. That's the cabin, right? The inside. And there's a lady still standing on the boat. And then a dog also died, who is Clifford's dog. So Clifford Boyza, the 79-year-old man that died, it was his dog. I did get to that. Let's see. Okay, the people that were missing were Carol. Okay, so Clifford has passed. Clifford's brother, John, is the owner and captain. He was rescued. He's okay. His wife's okay. His sister Carol is also missing. And then Clifford's wife, Jackie, is missing. Can you freaking imagine? And then a friend of Maria's. So they couldn't locate anybody, but I'm going to go to. There were some amazing fishermen, these young guys, and I'm going to play this. But they saved pretty much like 9 lives if they were fast acting. So this is a great interview.
He just like grabbed people by like the shoulder, like, I'm not gonna let you go. Like, just look at me, and trust me, I'm not gonna let you go. I got you. We're not putting you back in the water. And then I'd come from the wheel and we'd fucking get him under the shoulder and just pull him onto the boat. And like a lot of the people, like one of the gentlemen we pulled over, like he wasn't a little guy and he was like covered, like all his clothes are soaked in water. So like, I don't know, man.
Must have been 350 pounds with the water on him too.
And it was just at one point everyone was on the side of the boat and like it was like really close to like, you know, I'm like, I don't want to scuttle this thing too. Like, I don't want to scoop a wave over. Like, everyone get to the other side of the boat. It definitely looked like smoke. I mean, if I didn't see that, we wouldn't have went over there. So that was
the
like,
smoke was the indicator for us to go over. If we'd never seen smoke, we'd have never went over there because we couldn't see the boat was capsizing.
Yeah, just the plume of smoke or steam or whatever it had been is what initially drew my attention over there. And then Justin was like, what's going on over there? I was like, I don't know, somebody's in distress. Like, we were the second on scene. The first person there was a kiteboarder, and he had about 5 or 6 people clinging to his kiteboard. And when we had pulled up, there was another probably 4 or 5 hanging onto the side of the boat as it was keeling over. You could see the bottom of the boat, and we're just telling him, like, jump off, we'll get you, like, don't worry about it, we'll pull you out of the water. And
minutes after us, SF Fire, I think, pulled up, or SFPD
pulled SFPD up. And yeah. Then SF Fire, and then Oakland Fire.
Oakland Fire pulled up really soon after that. Sausalito Fire got out there. All those guys did a great job. We weren't the only guys that, you know, it was crazy pulling up. It was a scene from a movie, almost like a war.
Yeah, it was like the adrenaline didn't even like really wear off until like, I don't know, maybe 2 hours after I got off the water. Like, I couldn't even like eat anything. I was just like constantly just thinking about like
Okay, so these two fishermen were out there in the bay. They're, I think they were searching for, no, I mean, fishing anyway, it doesn't really matter. But they saw the boat, and so they went over there, and they said the people were elderly and they weren't strong, like they couldn't even use their arm strength to get on the boat. So, hey, Tater, we're watching the interview with the fishermen that helped rescue the people in San Francisco. And they got 9 of them on board, and to hollow ain't no hollaback girl, yes, does not appear anybody had a life vest on. No one. And these guys even threw them life vests, and they said the people were just such in shock that they had to keep yelling, "Put the vest on, put the life vest on," and then they did. Um, and I hope this interview is the one that I wanted to show, where they said that the people were banging on the windows and they were trying to throw fishing weights to break the windows so that they could get out. I know this is like my own worst nightmare, right? Um, so last night at sunset, the Coast Guard ended their search for the missing people. They just, after all the miles covered, they just said there's no way like there would have been anybody that survived at this point. And I felt so bad for the captain and the Coast Guard. I mean, you could tell he was like to get it to say that, just to say that they were ending that. But I believe they said the San Francisco police would take over. I mean, I don't think they're saying anything bad. I mean, the boat was legally registered and all that, but I feel horrific for this family. So I don't believe it'll continue to be the Coast Guard. I believe they're turning it over. And the dog, oh, that breaks my heart. I just can't imagine. Hey, Lori, good to see you. All right, I'm going to keep playing this.
The people that I saw banging on the windows trying to get out, it was like a scene out of a movie. He tried to jump in the water, but he's got a 1.5-year-old daughter and a wife at home, and I didn't want him to like get tangled up in a rope, or what would I tell his wife if something happens to him? Yeah. So I'm glad he didn't jump in the water, but also at the same time, I wish we could have helped more people.
They were either super frantic and we just had to grab them and, look at my face, look at me in the eyes. I'm not going to let you go. This one lady, she was, "Don't let me go. I don't know how to swim." And I was telling her, "I ain't going to let you go." And I gripped her and I just wrangled her in pretty much. And then if they weren't frantic, they were just too tired to do anything. There was a younger gentleman, and he didn't even have a life jacket on. He had just a throwable. And I gave him a fishing weight to go try to break the windows over there because people were banging on the windows trying to get out. It was pretty wild seeing that, honestly.
Can y'all imagine? So you're there rescuing people and you see people like banging on a window and there's nothing you can do. Oh my God, this is so upsetting. These poor guys. But I don't understand why no one had a life jacket. It's just so upsetting.
They're pulling people out of the water, and at that time I noticed that there was people still inside, like looking up at the sky, and the water was like coming over the windows, and we're trying to throw weights at the windows and anything to try to help the people inside, but it just started going down so fast and everyone was in panic and despair. It was just unreal.
These are the kind of guys though, like that boat every day. These are the kind of guys you want to be around because they know exactly what to do. I thought it was noble that his friend was like, "No, man, you're not jumping in the water," because he knew right, there can be loose stuff in there. And I had said, and my husband was like, "Oh, I don't think it would." But when a boat is sinking, it has a force it can pull with it. Obviously not like the Titanic, but just not to mention, the San Francisco Bay is known to be very rough. And that time of day, the current is in one direction and the wind is in another. So that's also part of the issue now. Like they know where the boat went out of sight, right? Where it went down, but it's still drifted or whatever at some point. So they don't even know exactly where it is at this point.
Even one lady, she didn't even have a life jacket on, and she was, going down, popping up, going down, flailing around. I grabbed her hand out of there, yanked her in the boat, and luckily Mike is an experienced captain. And he was in and out there doing 180s, turning on people, getting right on. And I was just grabbing them and yanking them in. And then when, you know, Mike would help me too, yank them in. I didn't, you know, it was.
I guess emotionally, what's going through your mind all this? Is it just adrenaline kicks in?
Okay, so it was like a cabin cruiser boat. They're calling it a pontoon originally, news sources were. And I can see why, because if you see the picture on the screen, that looks like the top of a pontoon boat, right? But that was like the top, the third level of this boat, because it was a cabin cruiser. So you've got the cabin underneath, then you've got like a, you know, the boat, and then you've got going up on the fly bridge right there. So this was friends and family. A young lady 10 years ago had taken her own life, and I believe her parents were on the boat. Might be the people who've passed, I'm not sure. But the lady that had passed away 10 years ago, I believe was the niece of the captain, if I'm doing the family tree right. I think. Okay. Just I'm not confirming. So he's the owner of this boat. He lives in Stockton, California, member of a yacht club, like they say he's a great man. Everything was legal on this boat. They left the yacht club. There were 20 people on board. I did hear the Coast Guard say totally an okay amount of people, and that this boat would have absolutely been okay. This man apparently has driven his boat numerous times in San Francisco Bay. And one thing people have said, though, if there were too many people on that fly bridge on the top part of the boat, that you have to, as a captain, always be aware of weight distribution. So, and with the big waves and those huge, you know, container ships go through there. I mean, there could have been a big wake. They said it was really choppy that day. I mean, some fishermen even opted not to go out, and they said it can change on a dime. But they had left the yacht club. Sorry, I digressed. And they went over to Angel Island, which I don't know if that's where they placed Maria's ashes, but that's what they were doing, was placing her ashes that day, having a memorial. And then they were heading back, and then something went terribly wrong, and we don't know what it was. But it does not appear that anyone had a life vest. So then all the people that were in the bay, these fishermen, they also say kite boarders, which are like, for lack of a better term, like a big paddleboard, surfboard, you know, with the kites attached. They're unbelievable if you've ever been out there and watched them. But one of those guys went over there to them and got his sail down so people could hang on to the sail and his board. And they said he saved their life as well. There were people stuck in the bottom of the cabin, like 3 people, and they were banging on the glass and they couldn't get them out. And I saw the Coast Guardsman say it would be very disorienting if all of a sudden you're in a boat and then, you know, it starts going under, taking on water. It's going to get dark and cold really fast, and you could get very disoriented. And we don't know if they'd had a long day and these were elderly people, and was somebody taking a nap. So Clifford, who was the brother of the captain, he passed away, 79. They had rescued him, did CPR, but he passed. And then his wife is still one of them missing. So I'm guessing she would be about the same age. And you know, she could have been taking a rest. I mean, elderly people do that, right? So sad. And then this guy just said somebody didn't even know how to swim. I can tell you, if I didn't know how to swim and I was on a boat, I would definitely have on a life jacket. But you know, you just think, oh, we're just on a cruise on a boat. I mean, look, there's land all around us.
I mean, really, when people are fighting for their life, you know.
True Crime Life Feed. So there are 3 people missing, and they have covered like so many miles, I believe, and they think that they're probably in the cabin of the boat, which is sunk, and it's down like 130 feet, which if you're a scuba diver, I'm not anymore, but years ago I was, you can't scuba dive that deep. So they said they have to get like an underwater drone. They got to find the boat. And then next thing, they've got to use like a salvage company to figure out the best way to get the boat up.
You don't really like, it's kind of like having to be there kind of thing, and to get the whole feeling of it. Like you watch Titanic, the people going down with the ship and everything, and you're kind of like just watching it as a, you know, in a movie, but it was like Titanic in real life. I mean, there was stuff everywhere. People were banging on the glass. It's like, and there's not really much you could do except for grab the people out of the water that were in the water.
People were panicking, and like we We had to like honestly like grab him on the arm and like, hey, chill out, like let's just get you in the boat, let's try to get you out of the water, you know, and let's try to help your friends out, because like Justin said, people were clinging to a kiteboarder, like his sail. There was probably like 6 or 7 people just dangling on there. Honestly, when we pulled up, I don't think most of the people had PDFs on. So we had 5 on the boat, and we had thrown them out there to individual people, and they were able to put them on just to buy us a little more time so we could assess what was going on. It's crazy. You just feel super blessed that you're able to go home, and, you know, and like feel so bad for the people that were on the boat or related to the people that went down.
Is that not unbelievable? Oh my God. And I feel bad. I mean, these people probably every day they close their eyes, they're going to see this. Can't you just imagine? Oh, Blue River, that's so kind. I was thinking about you. The deepest part of the bay under the Golden Gate Bridge is 300 feet. Wow. Thank you, Blue River. Oh my God. Blue River lives out there in that area. Oh, this is just so heartbreaking. I have chills, but I just think about these guys. And you know what? I think the guy, whoever, what's his face is, I can't think of it, that owns Facebook. If I had that kind of money and I saw this hero, I'd be giving them a big ass check.
Like when we had pulled up, we were throwing fishing weights and like 1-pound lead sinkers trying to hit the windows, or, you know, like gave a guy a fishing weight, like, here, break the window. And he just looked at us like, I'm exhausted. I can't do anything. Just like, help me. So we just pulled him in the water, then his girlfriend, then the lady. There was a woman on a kayak that I guess there was a kayak on the boat. And when it had came off, that's what she clung to. And she was able to get on top of the kayak. So we pulled her in. Then the lady that was like bobbing up and down with no life jacket.
Okay, that's impressive that someone pulled themselves on a kayak. I'm going to guess that was a younger person. If you've ever fallen off a kayak, I mean, not the easiest. Peachy Keen, anyone who boats, you wear a life jacket all the time. No, but I mean, we're not regular boaters. I know when we went out to Alcatraz, we were on like one of those big boats that's like a kind of like a, I guess, a ferry boat is what you would call it. I did not have a life jacket on. But I definitely like saw where they were, and they, you know, since it's commercial, right? They make you see all that. They're like, does everybody see where the jackets are? But it does make you kind of rethink everything. I think too, you would probably let your guard down. Like, we're on this cabin cruiser. Okay, we're on this water. We're all around land. I mean, it's one thing if you're out in the middle of the ocean, maybe. I mean, I don't want to throw shame at the victims, but I know when you see like those catamaran videos, you'll know I watch those a lot. The people that sail all over the world, they wear something because you fall off out there, you're screwed.
And then like 5 more people. It was just a very chaotic scene. Can't even imagine how those people are feeling today. Or like he said, a scene out of like Titanic. People like banging on the windows, and we're telling people like, kick it as hard as you can, but like a window with water behind it, you know, it's not just like a regular window, you know, there's pressure behind it, so it doesn't just break like a regular window.
You know, most people had life vests on. There was just 2 people that didn't have life vests. So, I mean, we immediately went to their aid and immediately pulled them out. And they were frantic, and we just told them to sit.
Okay, so he just said most had them on, and then earlier I thought they said no one but one. So I don't know, but yeah, the 3 missing are gone. They think they're down in that cabin. So awful. I mean, you're already out there for a solemn event. I'm just thinking about these parents. They've had their daughter cremated, and they've probably been hanging on to her ashes, trying to decide what to do. And they like finally decide to go do this. And then this happens. And if my family tree rabbit hole is correct, I think it might have been her parents who passed. So they rescued, quote unquote, Clifford Boyza from the water. He was 79. They did CPR, but he didn't make it. And then his wife, Carol, is still missing, but they were saying she was in the cabin. And I think that was Maria's parents. And the captain of the boat, John, I think, was her uncle.
Down on the boat, everything was going to be okay. This one lady just kept on apologizing. It really broke my heart. She's like, I'm sorry. I was like, you know, don't be sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. How could you
Right now we're focusing on obviously trying to find the rest of these victims that are missing.
Yeah.
But I mean, eventually.
I mean, honestly, like.
So if you're watching the footage, the little camera on the screen, you can see they're having to pull these people up. And that's one thing these guys describe, because they had no upper body strength, which I know as I've gotten older, I don't have the upper body strength I used to. I mean, can you imagine you're 70-something years old, you've just been shocked in freezing cold water. You probably are feeling numb. But hey, everybody, Blue River, Rosie, True Crime Wifey, it's good to see you. Everybody else, I don't want to miss anyone.
God's honest truth, there's 3 people still in that boat, and it's rolling around under the Golden Gate probably right now on a.
So the boat is a cabin cruiser, 49 feet in length, and I think it was a model 1981. No, they own the boat. It's licensed to John Boyza, 62 years old, captain, member of the Stockton, California Yacht Club. They had rented a slip there for like a week.
On a heavy outgo tide. There's one window that's open on that boat, so odds of them getting out of that boat and them finding the body is slim to none.
We had handed out probably like 8 life vests, just like like Justin said, I'm pretty seasoned on a boat. I can pull up to anything. I can parallel park a boat, like there was just debris everywhere, and you didn't know if it was people or debris or, and like, I think that's why the bigger charter boat kind of stayed back, just because it's got 2 motors, 2 big wheels underneath the boat. Like the outboard, it's right there, like I can keep it out of the way. And like,
I mean, this guy is sharp. Like, I want to go on a boat with this guy if I'm going on a boat out there. Like, he knows what's going on. Like, thank you for critical thinking and just being smart. Blue River, who lives out there on the bay. FYI, we've had quite a few strong winds during these couple of days. Yeah. And I've seen interviews with fishermen. There was somebody in a really big fishing boat, and he said, yeah, I opted not to go out that day because it was bad. And he said, I've been out there when it changes real fast, and it's not fun. But he said a 3-foot wave all of a sudden can be real different as the tide changes.
I was able to maneuver in there and just try to help as many people as possible.
It was so sad because I said, what are you guys doing out here? They said, we're at a memorial for my sister. That was the first lady that I pulled on the boat. She said, we're at a memorial for my sister. And then I said, how many people are in there? She said, at least 10 still in there. Then when we first pulled on the scene, and it was tragic.
Did you have a sense, is there a sense, did anybody say what might have went wrong? Like, oh, this happened. Did you have a sense of what happened? Obviously the investigation officially is going on, but did anybody have any information into that? What might have gone wrong?
Yeah. I was assuming it was an engine fire.
So the Coast Guard has said it wasn't a fire now, but we don't really know. I mean, at the point it basically capsized, then, you've got the engine kind of in the air. I mean, maybe fuel, and maybe then something could happen. I don't know if they have break glass like a car. That's a good question. I don't know. I thought I would switch to this. This was a news story.
Commitment to public safety will not be forgotten.
So on the left here is Clifford, and that's who they pulled from the water. And his brother was the captain of the boat. And to the right is Carol, who is still missing, his wife. So guessing she's down in the cabin of the boat.
Now, it goes without saying, this family is going through an incredibly tough time right now. As we mentioned, those 3 people are still missing. Cliff's wife, Jackie, Cliff's sister, Carol, and a family friend named Tondra. A neighbor of the Boysa family described them to us as the best people you could ever know, and said that they were in shock after they found out what happened.
It's just really unfortunate news about what happened yesterday. And really, I'm just speechless.
Crews had been searching about 1,000 nautical miles before calling the search off tonight. Andrea Nakano has more of a conversation with the boat's captain and family members of the missing passengers about the pain that they're in right now.
As the sun set, this rescue mission has officially become a recovery mission. According to a family member, 3 women did not make it back to shore, and now the Boysa family is mourning the loss of 4 people, all taken by this horrible tragedy. A Coast Guard ship was fueling up Wednesday night to make one last trip out to San Francisco Bay to search for survivors. A memorial cruise to remember a loved one tragically ended as the boat took on water, sinking it to the ocean floor.
I was really struggling with this whole time, and it's hard to put into words.
John Boysa was at the helm when his boat, the Volaire, took on water. He described the 3 women that didn't make it. His sister Carol, Jackie, his sister-in-law, who was a wife of Clifford Boysa.
Okay, so we'll back up. So Jackie was the wife, Carol was the sister. My bad. Okay. So I know someone's gonna be like, you got that wrong. Can you imagine this guy? Like, it's his niece that they're spreading the ashes, I guess, and then his brother dies, and then his sister dies, and then probably their brother's wife, and then a friend of the young lady whose ashes they're spreading. Good
First
God.
of the victims to be declared dead. The third was a family friend.
I love my sister. I love Jackie.
Oh my God, this is the voice, y'all, the captain on the phone, John Boysa. I agree, Elizabeth. It's a good comment. Why these casualties don't happen to child predators and not the good people? I agree.
They were a part of our family Jackie was part of her. There's a group with my sister. I love them all very much. As I said, Tondra was, a new friend. She came on board and I met her for the first time, but she was a kind and fun person.
The Coast Guard searched 950 nautical miles over the last 30-plus hours, hoping to find survivors.
Suspending an active search is one of the most difficult things we do as Coast Guard commanders. I don't take that responsibility lightly.
Did y'all watch this press conference yesterday with him? He did a great job. Ain't no hollaback girl. You can't break glass that has water pressure just like underwater. Sure. Yes, I agree. This was when it was like on its side though, and those windows were totally still in the air, but I hear you. I mean, I'm sure it's very thick glass, obviously, but breaks my heart.
At all.
The Coast Guard closely tracked tides, currents, and weather conditions to find any signs of life. The most likely scenario is that the 3 people were trapped on board.
There is a high possibility that individuals could have been trapped inside the vessel. We've done survivor debriefs, and we do know that individuals were in the main deck and potentially below deck, so we know there were folks there.
Peachy Keen, I thought the same thing originally. Like, okay, they're dumping ashes. I bet everybody was on one side of the boat and it capsized. But I'm kind of guessing if they went to Angel Island, and I don't know, like this is all speculation, but like you're thinking, oh, we'll go to Angel Island. That'll be the perfect place. I don't know if on the sail back you would just say, let's put them right here in the bay. But again, we don't know. And if people were in the cabin, I don't think they would have been sprinkling the ashes at that time. That's just kind of my thought process. But we don't know. I'm wondering if too many people were up top. I mean, 20 adults, elderly, it's a lot of weight on there.
The San Francisco Fire Department says the task is to now find the boat. Rescue crews believe it sunk to one of the deepest parts of the bay. Once they find the boat, underwater drones will be used to see if it's structurally sound enough to bring it up.
It's at an extreme depth that our divers cannot go past. So we're going to have to look for a specialized company that can help with the recovery and help lift the boat.
The Coast Guard says once the boat is found, it'll look into exactly why the boat capsized. Some witnesses reported seeing smoke coming from the boat, but authorities say there is no evidence of a fire.
Tonight, I also spoke with Ralph Boysa. Ralph is the brother of Cliff, the man who died in the accident. His sister, his sister-in-law, and family friend are the people who are still missing that Andrea mentioned. His family was out on the boat scattering the ashes of Ralph's late daughter when this happened, just compounding tragedies.
Okay, so it was Ralph's daughter.
Now, Ralph wasn't on the boat. He couldn't make the trip. He was home in Washington.
Wait a minute. It was Ralph's daughter's ashes and he couldn't make the trip. This is so sad. I got to write this family tree down.
State at the time. Ralph said his other daughter was on board, though, and called him to tell him what happened.
We were getting ready to go out this morning on our boat, and she called and let us know what happened. She was very distraught, so as you can imagine, I'm sure. They were in the middle deck, and all of a sudden they realized the boat was tipping over. It was capsizing. We don't have any idea why. But everybody that was in the cabin was struggling to get out, pounding on windows. And my daughter was the only one able to get out. I saw my brother on one of the newscasts. He was laying under a yellow tarp on the dock. And that was just brutal to know my brother was under that tarp. I want people to know that these were real people, good people, family people, love their wives, love their husbands, love their children, love their whole families. And they will be missed.
I just want you to know that we will not be showing any video of deceased individuals from that crash site on this broadcast. Ralph's brother, John, was the captain of the boat. We heard from him earlier. Ralph says that his brother was ex-Navy, a very experienced seaman who was familiar with the bay. And he's
All right. Well, that kind of, let me see. Yeah, so this was the information I found online this morning. But she just pretty much said it. John Boyza, the owner and captain of the boat, is listed as a Stockton Yacht Club member. They had no comment. This is a heartbreaking situation that has touched the entire boating community deeply. We are keeping all those involved, their loved ones, the first responders, everyone impacted by this tragedy in our thoughts and prayers. That's the board chairman at the yacht club. And then this says, according to a 2007 article, John Boyza was appointed executive director of the how do you pronounce that? Yoquin? Yeah. Yoquin Medical Society. But for on a red, he's a great guy. John was the younger brother of Clifford, the 79-year-old man who was identified by the San Francisco medical examiner on Wednesday. The Boyza family provided a statement to KPIX. Everyone involved, all of the loved and cherished family members and friends are grieving this loss. We want to thank all of you for our privacy at this time. As of Wednesday and Thursday today, 3 people remain missing in the San Francisco Bay. According to transponder data, the vessel tracked to be in Stockton, California on July 10th and on San Francisco's northern waterfront on July 11th, and again on Sunday, July 12th, and Tuesday, July 14th, which is the day it sank. So, we just heard what Ralph said, who wasn't on the boat, but is a brother and was the dad of the girl, the ashes they were sprinkling. That his brother was in the Navy and he was experienced. Yeah, they're probably down there in that cabin. God, how horrific. Can you just, oof. Yeah. The family had gathered to scatter the ashes. While crossing a deep section of the bay in choppy waters and high wind, the vessel was struck by a severe wave, causing it to take on water and roll to its side. We don't know any of this for sure, but I'm guessing they've got all those charts and things where they can see that. The survivors, 16 passengers, including the captain, John Boyza, and his wife, Miriam. Deceased, John's 79-year-old brother, Clifford, who's a retired Sutter County Sheriff's deputy, and also a dog that I believe was Clifford's. So the 3 passengers missing are John, Ralph's, and Clifford's sister, Carol, sister-in-law, Jackie, who maybe Jackie was married to Clifford, and then a family friend that was friends with Maria. So says John was described as 62, resident of Stockton, a veteran of the U.S. Navy, highly capable and experienced boatsman who regularly navigated the San Francisco Bay. He has worked as a political consultant, and they're active members of the Stockton Yacht Club. See what y'all are saying. Oh, Tater. Maybe the daughter who died was trying to tell them something. Hey, Patricia and Rosie, it's so good to see you. Yeah, Rosie, you never know how you will react. Plus, I mean, freezing waters. Freezing. And not to mention, it's not like you just jump in your swimsuit. I mean, you've got jeans and all that on. Do you know how heavy that is? The first thing you do is take that stuff off. But yeah, Tater says, when you go up against nature, experience does not matter. Yeah. It's just awful. Said Boyza had been, this what gave me chills. This man said, Boyza left Toastmasters in recent years to nurture an interest in boat maintenance. The National Weather Service predicted that winds in the bay would be no higher than 17 miles per hour Tuesday, but gusts did reach 30 miles an hour in the afternoon. So see, again, like things happen that you just don't know. A spokesperson for the San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department said Boyza and his wife had valid documentation and insurance for the fiberglass boat, an Eagle trawler yacht. They had temporary dock rental from July 11th to July 16th at the San Francisco Marina Yacht Harbor. The Coast Guard captain said crews had covered 950 square nautical miles and searched more than 1,700 miles of track line using 11 surface assets and 4 aircraft since the initial distress call came in Tuesday afternoon. He added that reports of a fire aboard the vessel were unsubstantiated. Officials said the vessel sank under about 130 feet of water. But to Blue River's point, I mean, it could have gone to the even deeper part, right? Officials said the vessel sank under at about 130 feet of water, and the San Francisco police are working with the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services to pinpoint the wreck's position. Divers typically cannot operate safely beyond 120 feet of depth. Police will use an underwater drone to assess whether the vessel can be raised to the surface. Any recovery effort would require coordination with specialized salvage company. Coast Guard officials confirmed that the Volaire, the name of the boat, was documented and home ported in Stockton, described as a 49-foot vessel with 3 levels and a living space, and it was, quote, certainly capable of handling the roughly 20 people reported aboard. That's the Stockton Yacht Club. Captain Kirk Miller, who owns a sailing boat charter company that operates in the bay, said monitoring weight distribution on a vessel is critical to keeping it balanced. For example, passengers were crowded on the top level, the flybridge, it could have been dangerous for the stability of the boat. Licensed charter boats like the ones Miller operates are subject to regular review from regulators, including stability tests that use barrels of water to simulate how much weight they can handle and how far they can safely list. Interesting. Yeah, he said the physics of instability, he said, are really forgiving. The passengers were spreading the ashes of Maria Boyza, who died unaliving in 2016 at age 33. According to Ralph, her adoptive father and brother of John and Clifford. She was an avid surfer, and 10 years after her death, the family decided to spread her ashes in the bay. 2 people remain missing. And this was older. It's 3. This was before. Earlier Wednesday, authorities said the missing included Carol, sister of Boyza brothers, Clifford's wife, Jackie, and a friend of Maria. This is the update. He just said they became trapped in the boat's cabin as it began to sink. His daughter was briefly trapped, but then managed to escape. The 2 women, along with a family friend, are likely to be found still in the cabin if and when the recovery effort reaches the sunken boat. And that's Clifford who passed. Oh, isn't this just so sad, y'all? Let's see. Yeah, 3 are definitely trapped in the cabin. So yeah, once it went down, I mean, yeah, there's really no way to escape if it starts to sink. And it's dark, it's cold. I mean, you wouldn't know, like you would be so probably disoriented as to what direction. You wouldn't remember the way you came in or whatever. Patricia Burns is always good for a story. We just had 4 Mormon men in our apartment block sitting in the sun lounge trying to garner recruits. I went in there and told them to leave as none of us were interested in joining a cult. Good for you, Patricia. I'm proud of you. Ain't no hollaback girl. They should reach out to director Cameron Crowe, who owns one-man submarine he used to view remains of the Titanic. Wow. Oh, thanks, Blue River, for that. Stockton is located in the Central Valley, about 20 to 30 minutes away from Sacramento. Taterbug, y'all, I have a client who is 19, has his pilot license, and works for the airport down the road from me. He is part of a recovery team for crashes. Wow. Ugh. He was on site the other day in Kentucky, bagging a crash of a helicopter, found a human blob of flesh. Oh, that's awful. Wow. Okay. So then I thought we would move on to the Lindsay Clancy case. So is there anyone? I'm going to try to cover this. It's going to be a very long trial, but I'm going to try to cover it. So in 2023, she strangled 3 children, and she's trying to go with this psychosis defense, postpartum depression. And her attorney lost, like, they had their last hearing, I guess, earlier this week before her trial next week. And he wanted to bring in basically just regular women who could testify about postpartum depression. But the judge ruled it down.
This is Lindsay Clancy. Ms. Clancy is present. She is represented by Attorney Kevin Reddington. The Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague and Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham.
All right. Well, good afternoon, counsel. Good afternoon, Ms. Clancy. Counsel, could I see you at sidebar? All right, counsel, what, right.
Yes, amazing. True Crime Wifey. I missed your comment earlier, but you said that reminds you of the boat crash in San Francisco. Back to that, the 1986 rescue. Yeah, send it. You said they were off Catalina Island. Oh wow, Lori. So Lindsay begged for help 10 times and no one listened. But then also, didn't she no one was supposed to leave her alone, and then she somehow made a plan for the husband to leave the house and go to the drugstore, and in the 25 minutes he was gone, she did this. Oh, and after she strangled them, she jumped out of the second story window and did something to her spine. So now she's paralyzed and in a wheelchair. Yeah, I haven't been to Catalina Island in a long time. All right, I'll play a little bit of this.
Thought we'd do is kind of just go through kind of a list of matters that we have to. So I know we had to talk about impalement.
Yeah, Lori, you heard that too about I'm going to check my email, see. Oh, Josh did a good video that broke it all down.
Talk about scheduling.
That's awesome.
And then some of the pretrial matters, we're going to go, I want to talk to counsel in regards to if the defendant at some point is going to request to be absent from the courtroom at some point during the trial. I want to go over.
That's not carved in stone. Right?
No, I know. I'm just, the reason I wanted to raise it so that and it's not carved in stone, but if it comes
I
up.
can tell you, Your Honor, that without invading attorney-client privilege, she does not intend to seek to absent herself at all from this trial. She'll be here from beginning to end.
And that's fine. The only reason I'm saying it is I know that was raised. It may come up.
Okay, she's going to be there from beginning to end. We're going to go back to the boats. Thank you for sending this, True Crime Wifey. So this is Rescue at Sea. Fishermen reunite with the girl they saved 35 years ago, the sole survivor of 6. This is Friedman Adventures channel. Okay, episode 7 of 9. Mark Pisano and Paul Strasser discuss a rescue at sea, a 9-year-old girl, Desiree Rodriguez, on May 9th, 1986. She had been in the frigid water for over 20 hours after a family boating accident. Both captains have not spoken with Desiree since the day she was rescued. Holy cow.
Hey, Raquel, how are you? Hi. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi.
This is Paul Strasser, Mark Paisano.
Hi.
So, are we good, Steve? Yeah. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. We're going to get this on Spanish TV. We're hoping. And my Spanish is más o menos, more or less. So we got Raquel. So I want you guys to tell her the story, and then she can hear it, and then later on she can translate it. So I don't know if we start, because you actually saw her first, and then Mark jumped in the water. So
I want to explain how this whole evening came about to why we found her, or how we found her.
Yeah.
And you just let me know.
I was telling Philip it almost had like a supernatural thing to it because we wouldn't have been at the island.
Oh, wait. So is this the fisherman? And then they're going to learn this is really Desiree? Is that what's going to happen? Did I just...
that late? If we would have left normally, we probably wouldn't have left from that island, that end of the island. Yeah. That's another thing. And
a lot of things happen.
And we were the last boat coming home. So, and I was telling Philip, so I tried to search her. Her name's Desiree Rodriguez about maybe 2-3 years ago.
Try to find her?
Yeah, just to see if she was, still in the area, and there was I mean, there was literally 90 or 100 Desiree Rodriguez's that came up.
Common name.
Common
Yeah,
name,
right?
Or even in LA, there was like 30 in Long Beach.
Oh wow.
You know, or something like that. I mean, it was a lot. There was a lot. I don't remember the exact, but anyway, so someone that heard our podcast,
Whose phone is that?
knew her
Oh.
and reached out to her and gave us her contact. And my wife sent her a message, and she messaged us back.
Really?
She's got 3 or 4 kids.
Well, we got to
She's married.
find her someday.
I
Wouldn't
know,
that be awesome?
That would be great. I think.
Be a great story.
Yeah.
It really was.
So let's tell
40 years. I mean, she's 41 now.
let's tell Raquel the story.
Okay, so you want to hear the story from
And
Yes.
stay on that
Start.
thing. Plus Strasser. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to talk in. These are a little
Yeah.
different than the radio show.
Okay. 1 second.
Oh my God. I'm already now about to burst into tears.
Okay. All right. The afternoon of May 19th, 1987, we were fishing the backside of Catalina Island. And it was an area of the island where we normally don't fish that late in the day. But around 2 in the afternoon, we anchored up on a rock called Sentinel Rock, which is on the backside in the middle of the island. And the yellowtail started to bite. We were looking for yellowtail all day long, and we started catching these 12 to 15-pound yellowtail. And so we said, well, we're going to sit for a while. And we're on 3:15. I think we're on 3 to 3:15. I can't remember exact time.
That's late for you guys.
That's
yeah,
late.
no, it was after 3:30 because that time of
3:30?
year it
Yeah.
was still light when we left the island, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was. I remember on the way home, it was starting. Well, you can see from the picture, it was still pretty daylight.
Yeah.
Well, so when we finally left 3:30, I think probably 3:30ish, we knew it was late. It was time to go home. And where Sentinel Rock is located, it's either 50-50. Do I go west or do I go east to go home? And I said, let's just go west because coming home from the west from the island is a much better travel going home. And so we went through the west end of the island. We're coming home, and I'm just guessing probably 6-7 miles off the island going towards LA Lighthouse. And 2 of my good friends were in the wheelhouse. We're talking away, and I looked down where the boat was going one direction towards the lighthouse. And I remember looking a little bit off to the right, around 45 degrees to the right, downwind. I saw a white object. And I thought, well, this might be a bumper or something that we find in the water. And we like to, you
Maybe
might
debris.
yeah, debris,
floating.
something. So I got the binoculars out and I looked, and right then I took the autopilot, put the autopilot towards what I'm looking at. And I have the binoculars looking at this object. And as we're getting closer to it, I notice a point, like a bow. And I go, that's not what I thought it was. And as we're getting closer, I could see like a little, like a whitish silhouette in the water, because the water was really blue. And I'm thinking to myself, so right away, I grabbed the PA and I go, Mark, stand by. We might need you to jump in the water. We don't know I'm on to something here. This is something that just shouldn't be here. So at the time, I think Mark was cleaning fish, and they're all of a sudden, I think they're getting I don't know what happened exactly on down.
I came up to the wheelhouse, and we were still a ways from it, and we looked.
Yeah.
And
A great point, Patricia. Listen to how precise these guys are. Unlike that dude whose wife went overboard in the Bahamas, he lacks all the details. That's right. Peachy Keen, what's the flag? It looks like a Notre Dame flag.
And saw it was something
not
different.
Yeah. So as we pull up to the object, right away, it was the bow of a boat, and we saw. I had everybody. Then we just idled up to it, and we saw 2 bodies face down.
No, there was one body at the boat. Remember, because we found the other girl
floating halfway.
There was one. You know, I'm 6 days younger than him, so I have much better memory. Actually, we're 6 days apart. Really, that's real. So. Anyway, but no, there was the one body we first found. We did find 2 bodies.
It was tangled up in the line, the rope. They grabbed the rope, and it passed away. And right away they go, we have, it's dead. I said, I understand. So right away I knew no one's seen this the whole day. So I grabbed the binoculars and I started scanning. Right away I got on Coast Guard is vessel first string. And
is that a heavily traveled route
yes.
for boats?
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. We were coming home very late at day, in the evening. So, but it's not on the ferry routes. In other words, the ferry routes would be to Avalon. We were on the west end of the island, which is the opposite end of the island to Avalon.
Okay.
So it's less traveled.
Okay.
But there are some boats that go toward the isthmus, but still, it's not the same track line.
Yeah.
It's about
it's primarily going to be like fishing boats that you guys were on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So right away, I grabbed the binoculars. After I'm on the Coast Guard, talking to the Coast Guard, going to my position, what I just found, and I have to keep looking, so I can't be on the radio. I put the radio down. I looked. I saw an orange object out in the distance and a brown spot above the orange life jacket. And I said, we got something here. This one might be, we just found a dead body. This one might be alive. And right away, we ran to that direction. And then Mark, he ran downstairs and just idled up to it. And we have a picture here. And it was a live girl we found.
And how far away was she from?
She was a little bit of ways, huh?
Yeah, she was at least a mile from the boat.
Yeah.
Reach out to the girl.
Oh,
That's a
wow.
live picture right there.
Pretty incredible, huh?
Yeah, very incredible.
Yep. Can you get a picture of the first string? It's around the corner. And so we pulled up. Mark jumped in the water. We grabbed the girl, got her on the boat, and then by that time now the Coast Guard's almost on the scene.
I think the picture's below that.
Oh.
They forgot about me in the water.
Oh yeah, well, Mark's
so I'm in the water.
Yeah,
and I'm looking up and I don't see anybody. I'm like,
they're leaving.
You're like, what about
water.
me?
We're not leaving.
I'm in my underwear. I go,
Someone
hey.
gonna help me out of the water?
So they grabbed me and pulled me out. Of course, my underwear went off in the water. I'm shocked.
But so we got the girl on the boat, and then Mark obviously.
And then they remember to get Mark on the boat.
I mean, a lot of stuff was going on. The Coast Guard's running through at full speed, almost ran over the second body that we found. It was like a little bit of a scene going on, but it was all good.
How long were you guys there from the time you guys, I guess, saw the first
Well, I know
part of the wreckage?
from the pictures, it was completely dark when we got in.
Yeah, we got in.
So let's say we were an hour from this all happened maybe an hour before dark or an hour and a half before dark.
Okay.
So we were probably out there an hour because the Coast Guard came out and they put 2 medics on the boat. And right away we started treating her for hypothermia.
Okay.
And that's pretty much, I remember she wasn't fat, but she had baby fat on her, She's 9 years old. So she still had her baby fat, which probably was one of the reasons she was still alive.
Because you said when you went in the water, it was shocking. Like,
oh yeah, I jumped in the water. It was like, when you jump in ice cold water.
Yeah, it takes your breath
it takes
away.
your breath away. And then I told Philip, I opened my eyes and all you see is this dark, deep blue, and you're like, you get that
eerie
funny
feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of deep water dives. Now I was telling me I've done a lot of diving. So now it's not a big deal. How old were we? 23, 86? Was it 80?
24, probably. May, April,
23?
May. That was 24.
Yeah,
April.
Wow.
It happened in
This
May.
guy was
May
actually a
87.
handsome guy in those days, Well, he looks like
Yeah,
Tom
you guys
Cruise,
were,
doesn't he? So do you have any questions before we move on?
That was the boat.
You'd like to ask
That's
these
the
guys?
boat that found her.
Yeah, that was
the first string.
Okay.
That was one that we ran at the time. What you see here, we have things from the mayor, we have things from the county of LA, city of LA, Mayor Tom Bradley's office. We had, and then a lot of newspaper articles and things that we brought along that we saved, believe it or not.
Wow, that's so great that you guys were able to do that. And you guys haven't even had any contact other than obviously you said the message from your wife.
How many years ago was that? Now we're like 96.
30 something? 38?
Yeah, 30. No, not quite 30. So
87.
86. 35 years.
96.
Boys, I want to tell you something, okay? Do you mind if I say something to you? You guys are heroes, right? This is not a translator. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. Who are you?
I'm Desiree.
Oh my God.
I would say it's 35 years ago.
Oh
right.
my God.
Thanks.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
Wow. Unbelievable. Raw emotion. This is amazing.
The fuck? Well, you got me on this one. You got me on this, Deborah. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, Deborah. For 20 years. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Definitely has been a long time. Thanks, Phil.
Oh my God. Phil, how the hell did you do
I'm
this?
so happy to
It's a
make
small
this
world.
happen.
It's a small world. I have an old coworker I work with. His name's Pablo. And
Pablo
he
Peña.
knows Pablo. and Pablo knew a little bit of my story for the brief time that we worked together. And then I guess he heard the podcast recently that you did, and you mentioned my name, and he kind of just put two and two together and realized it was me that you were talking about.
Holy shit. I had no
You got me on this
clue.
one, man.
I had no clue.
That was the idea.
I didn't ever years ago. I always thought, but you know, I mean, life goes on, and you know, I thought maybe after this we might be able to see Desiree because you know, it just damn.
Do you guys have any questions for one another? Or, I mean, this is such a beautiful moment for everybody.
I'm kind of in shock.
I know you are. I can see that, man.
I mean,
over the years, I've always kind of wondered kind of how things happen from the rescuer standpoint, but I never knew who was involved. You know, I think I maybe only have 2 newspaper clippings, and there's limited information. It doesn't have your names in there. So I didn't really know as I've gotten older as an adult, I didn't know where I could troubleshoot and how to find out who was there. And then, this came
well, I mean,
about.
you were 9 years old. I remember, right? That was, and
right before I turned 10 in July. So I was, 9.
Do you remember anything about because, we talked to investigators, insurance people for years after. I mean, I got a call 3 years after that from an investigator that was still from one of the insurance companies, like
About
trying
the
to
boat.
figure things out. Because what I remember about that day, it was really super foggy.
Yes, it was.
In the morning, yes, at night.
Yeah, because the accident happened in the evening. Well, on our way back from Catalina, we always made a regular trip out there. It was our family boat, so we went at least once to twice a month. We'd even sometimes just fish off San Pedro. We would always dock out here. My dad loved fishing with my grandpa. We would go. On this one particular trip, though, we took my aunt and uncle with us and left their kids behind. Lo and behold, we were supposed to take their kids too, but we didn't. And then we always made a point to leave before it got too dark. So I think if I recall, my dad said, okay, it's time to head out and go back. And it was probably around maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah.
No, at night.
In the evening.
Going home.
That we chose to come home.
Wow. So you weren't.
You're in the water a long time.
Yeah. The accident happened shortly after that. So it happened during the dark hours. I want to say maybe we were traveling no more than an hour in the boat.
So you were in the water for
overnight until you guys found me.
Holy.
The next day.
I don't even know how you survived.
So.
That was my only biggest. I was always trying to put the whole scene in perspective. What time did they leave the island? How did they crash? How long was Desiree in the water? I mean, because there's always a mystery to me.
Yeah, because my aunt had even mentioned that my grandparents, because we lived right across the street from my grandparents, so my dad stored the boat at my grandparents' house. They have a nice big up the driveway where we would store it, and they knew something was wrong when we were back, and it was already dark because we would have already been back home. So they immediately.
What's weird is they didn't put any missing. Like the Coast Guard will make a call, like overdue vessel or missing vessel, but we never heard any. Well, we were on the backside of the island, so the reception. VHF
or unless my grandparents. I mean, they both since passed, so I don't know that they even thought to maybe make a call.
You saw these pictures. You on the news plate.
I remember vividly, like the news, like being at my grandparents' house when they brought me home for the first time because we lived right across the street from them, and we were going to my grandparents' house up the driveway. So I remember a whole bunch of cameras and stuff, and seeing bits and pieces of segments on the news. But then my grandma would turn it off because she didn't want me getting upset.
Yeah.
But yeah, that night, it happened. It was dark. I know you mentioned the insurance company trying to figure out what happened. We never really, from what I gathered, my aunt said, because there was an ongoing dispute with the insurance company. They were trying to say the accident happened in Mexico waters. And my aunt's like, no, they went to Catalina. I guess where the boat had drifted, it had kind of drifted close to Mexico waters or something.
You were 100 miles from the border.
Or they were trying to say that.
Well,
that would get some.
Yeah.
Insurance
And
companies
that's
are-
what they were trying to basically do.
Do you have any recollection of being in the water so long?
Yes.
And how was it terrifying? What was that like?
I was so young. I don't know that I was scared.
I got a question. Did you go to sleep on the boat, and did your mom put you in a life jacket?
No, we were already in a life jacket. So we were
So you
underneath.
had life jackets on?
Yeah,
all the
my
time?
sister and I we already had our life jackets on. My mom and my aunt were underneath with us because it was a double decker. My dad was initially driving the boat from underneath, but I guess he couldn't see, so he said, "I'm going to go up top and man the boat," because up top he also had a steering wheel. So he went up there with my uncle. Probably within 15, 20 minutes, he said, "We have to get out of the boat. The boat's capsizing." And we basically give us a direction, go out the right side, because we could feel it was already going this way.
Oh my God. Wow.
And we had the windows, so my sister and I went through. I didn't see how anyone else got out because I just got her and I out. And then when we came up, then I saw everybody, and by then the boat was already capsized, and we were just all kind of floating around the boat, basically.
Jeez.
So
So you initially were all near the boat,
yeah,
and you all had life jackets on?
no, just my sister and I did.
Just your sister?
Mhm.
Yeah, because the person we first found, I don't know, if it was your mother or your aunt.
I believe that was my mom you guys found first.
Because it looked like she had fastened her. She was tight close to the boat, like she had a rope on. Like, in other words, using the boat for
Yeah, no, I did that because during the night, so my dad was the first to, as an adult, you now look back, you're like, okay, that's silly of him. But my dad was the first to go and say, "I'm going to go and swim for help."
Oh, wow.
You can't see anything out there. It was pitch black. I mean, you could see the moon, but that was about it. But there's no landmarks you could see. Like, where are you going to swim to? Now that, and as an adult, I can think of those things. And I think he just wanted to try to
Do anything.
yes,
Good. Yeah.
because if not, we're just going to.
So when it got
No,
daylight, it was foggy. In other words, you couldn't really see around you too much.
I didn't see daylight that I can recall until like what I would equate to about noon or 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Here
It was foggy that
in the morning, it was so thick gray, and I can remember vividly hearing the sound of loud, sound like foghorns or
Probably, yeah.
boat horns.
You were
I
in the-
remember that.
Does the
I
West
can
End have
remember
that?
hearing
Well,
that.
no, but they were in the transit lane.
Oh,
Ship.
You
I thought-
can't
I thought
hear.
had a
You
sh- I thought they had a
couldn't
ship.
see anything because it was just so thick. But I could hear. And
Hey, here for today. This is a lady. Her name's Desiree Rodriguez, and she was rescued by these fishermen. She had been in the water for 20 hours when her family's boat sank, and she was wearing her life jacket. She was 9 years old at the time, but she's just sharing what she remembers. But I'm sure it's very much stuck in her head. Did she say though she was so young she wasn't scared? I would have been freaking terrified, but I guess there's just something that kicks in, right? Hey, 406, good to see you.
And by that time, the morning time came, like deep in the morning when it was still really like the fog was thick. My mom was the first to pass.
Wow. Yeah, as True Crime Wifey says, Desiree was the only survivor. She lost her entire family this day.
She just started foaming at the mouth.
Hmm.
Oh boy.
And as a child, I know what's happening, but I don't know
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
or how, or
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see her drink water, so I don't know how that even happened to her. But I remember my aunt telling me, tie her off to the boat so she doesn't float away from us. So that's what I did. I used, I don't know, whatever rope that was.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can y'all imagine? Wow.
That way she could stay nearby. And then my sister was the next to pass, my little sister. I did the same with her.
She was in a life jacket?
She was in a life jacket.
They never found her.
Yeah.
Which is surprising.
And then I remember it being daylight, like sunny and beautiful. And then it was just
So interesting. So her sister was in a life jacket, but she died and they never found her body. Is that what they just said? And her mom and her aunt were with her?
My aunt and my uncle and myself left. And then my aunt and I think we were just delirious. I don't know. We were just laughing and talking. Like when we get rescued, we're going to go to a hotel, and watch TV and get all warm and cozy under the blankets and order room service. I think because we were just trying to keep our minds off of what was really happening. And then my uncle, I don't know, he just kind of gave up. He just basically swam away from the boat. And he's like, I just don't want to be here anymore, basically. And then my aunt was like, go get him. Don't let him, because she already knew like he was just going to let himself drown. And that's pretty much what he did. I tried to hold him up, but he was like pulling me down because he was a pretty big guy. So just with his dead weight, I couldn't hold on to him. So I had to let him go, and he just eventually went under the water.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
And then I think at that time, I just got really, I don't know if I was just so tired. I don't know the full details of my aunt passing, but I remember her passing, but not very vividly. Like, I don't know. I don't remember her like my mom. I vividly remember my mom foaming at the mouth. I don't remember my aunt doing that. And I think I remember at that point, I remember me telling myself I had to just get away from the boat.
Right.
And I kind of just started swimming away from the boat. Where I was going to swim to, I don't know, but I just know I didn't want to be there anymore.
Did you remember when you saw us coming, dude? Because I remember when I was in the water swimming toward you in that picture, I went to reach for you, and you kind of like, because I was, I was swimming hard,
Yeah.
and my adrenaline was probably through the roof. So, but I do remember when I reached for you to grab your life jacket and swim you back to the boat, you kind of flinched. So what I thought to myself is, she's still pretty coherent.
I remember like seeing the boat, but I think I was just so tired. I was just like,
exhausted. You've answered a lot of questions that have always been kind of drove us crazy. Because I mean, we're on the ocean hundreds. We've been on the ocean thousands of days since, tens of thousands probably. I don't even know how many days, 200 days a year for the last 40 years. So.
Yeah.
But I've always said to myself, like, how exactly?
What happened?
What happened? Like, what time? The time frame drove me crazy. Like how long you were in the water for?
mm-hmm.
When
I mean, it almost was.
Were dead,
it almost was a full 24 hours.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's almost. I mean, that's almost a miracle.
It is.
If you're in 60-degree water, it's not like being out in 60. Picture yourself out in 60-degree wind, naked, basically.
Hypothermia.
But water takes your heat away like that. And like I said, I just remember you being a little bit
I was chubby.
So you were chubby.
That's thanks to my mom.
Well,
my grandma.
That's what saved your life.
Yes.
Lots of good home cooking.
Oh, she said being chubby saved her life. Gosh, she's a beautiful lady.
The good homemade Mexican food. Yes.
Oh my God. I know about that. I love that.
But I do remember when we put you on the boat, they put like warm, they took warm water in plastic bags. It's the way you bring back a person's temperature slowly.
Yeah, right.
And I actually remember that, but as I was telling your son, it felt like sharp.
Yeah.
Like my body, my skin was so cold. Like it was, I don't even know how to explain it.
I can't imagine that. But when she said she doesn't know how to explain it, I'm thinking about like when it's freezing in the like when we have these ice storms or whatever, and your skin, it's like painful. It's so cold. Shroomies, hello.
Not like a burn feeling, kind of like it was like awakening my nerves.
Yeah, you do. Like when you're super cold and then you put heat to your body, it kind of feels like.
So was this just in the Pacific, just like off the coast of Catalina, but then they had drifted toward Mexico, but they weren't in Mexico, right?
Almost a burning.
Almost like, have you gone to those cryo chamber things?
No.
It's kind of like that. I've been in it. It was uncomfortable at first, but then after it's just mind over matter. But it was kind of like that feeling,
Wow.
It's almost, I don't know who believes in God or who doesn't, but there's almost like some divine intervention here with you in the water for so long. That's a miracle. You two guys decide to stay at the island late.
Right.
Then you go west instead of east. And then you start looking with the binocs It's
Well,
almost like
the biggest
somebody
thing,
was protecting
the biggest thing that I always thought was kind of like an act of God was there was nothing biting. We get on this yellowtail bite, right? And I remember it being at the tuna hole, but he says Sentinel Rock. They're half a mile
It was
apart.
Sentinel.
Yeah.
But anyway, remember, I'm younger. I better remember.
I read the boat though. It was Sentinel
So-
Rock because it's a spot that really don't fish too much.
So we sat there for
Irma
at
was on the
least
boat.
2 hours longer than we would have been.
Yeah.
So if we had left on a regular time, we probably wouldn't have gone there. And knowing what we know now, I mean, it's amazing nobody saw you
There was
prior or but I think the whole thing was that fog. Fog's a dangerous thing on the ocean.
There
It
was
really
a boat that left in front of us a couple hours. I think it might have been a little foggy-ish because he
Mhm.
didn't see him. And that's the thing that upset me the most is that there's no way I'm the last guy coming home and this is here and no one saw this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but like I said, when I noticed that we're on a scene, there has to be something else here. And that's when I looked around. I saw the orange jacket with the head above the orange jacket. I said, "We have a live one." She kept breathing air.
Thank God, huh?
So tell us about you. I know you have kids. I saw a picture on Facebook.
Yeah, because they didn't only say you in a sense. I mean, because you've got a family.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Unbelievable.
Well, I have 2 fur babies, which are like my children. They were my
course.
birth children.
I'm sorry, you're what?
2 fur babies, Sasha and Shelby. They're my huskies that I love so much.
That's crazy. I've had a couple of huskies. Yeah.
Yeah, one's a rescue, and she's just, rescues. If you ever never had a rescue dog, you need to get one because their loyalty and they know when they've been rescued.
Right.
They
And
have
the
a
other
lot of
one-
energy, huh?
Yes,
Huskies
lots
are-
of energy. They're like children, basically. They chew and destruct too. And then I have a 5-year-old. He's going to be 6, Leo. And then my stepson, he's 19. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I saw a picture. I wasn't sure who was what or who was who. But you were in a picture with a few women. My wife showed me and she goes, look, it was her because we weren't sure. I thought when I first.
This is just wild. So, yeah, God intervention for sure. I would say her life definitely had a purpose and it was not her time. I had never heard of this either. Thank you so much, Ukraine Wifey, for sending it. That is unbelievable. So what I want to know is who then raised her, because she lost her aunt and uncle, her mom, her sister. Yeah, like pins and needles being that cold. Yeah. Here for today. A little fat does help. Look at those long distance open swimmers. They all have a layer of fat. Yeah. Tater says Catalina Island is about an 1.5-hour boat ride from Orange County. Oh, shroom. It's shrummies, not shroomies. Oh, shrummies. I'm sorry. See, us Southerners. Shrummies. Sorry. Thought maybe you were a Grateful Dead fan. Oh, this is just unbelievable. Yeah, here for today. I wonder how she feels being on boats. So she said they still don't know what happened with the boat. The grandparents. Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Oh, okay. Thank you, True Crime Wife. He said her grandparents raised her who lived across the street. Yeah. Shrummies was wondering the same thing. Wow. Oh, thank you for. Sorry, Melissa, you're crying. I know, but it does restore your faith in humanity. So I just typed this up back to the. I mean, should I finish watching that just real quick? So the Volaire is the boat that sank in San Francisco Bay, and the captain is John Boza, 62, rescued. His wife Miriam, she was rescued. The brother Clifford, 79, deceased. There are 3 still missing that are believed to be in the cabin. I just wanted to clarify all this because earlier I was jumping around. Carol Boyza, the sister of John and Clifford, she is still missing. And Jackie Boyza is still missing, sister-in-law, married to Clifford, who passed. And then a friend of Maria. So Maria is whose ashes they were spreading that day. So there are basically 4 siblings in the story. So Ralph was not on the boat, and it is his adopted daughter, Maria, whose ashes they were sprinkling. Carol Boyza is believed to be in the cabin, one of the missing. Clifford Boyza, he passed away. He was pulled from the water and the CPR was given on that Tuesday. And John Boyza, who was captaining the boat. So I hope that helps. Yeah, the lack of the whole life jackets, like Shrummy said. Yeah. Yeah, the grandparents did an amazing job. But I can go back. We can finish it. And there's just like a few minutes.
First got the note, I go, well, it might be another Desiree Rodriguez, but
Well, boys, by the way, when this finishes here, you guys are going to walk outside and be able to meet them, all of them.
What? Oh my gosh. Wow. Hey, Cat Ride. Happy you're here.
You know, I mean,
Yeah, this will make you believe in a higher power. I know a lot of times people think, well, there can't be a God if bad things happen. That's just not how it works. In my faith, anyway, as a believer, we live in a fallen world and bad things happen. And it took a long time before I could accept that. When I had a sick child, I should say, I kind of came to peace with it during her life, which did help in her passing, I would say, because I had that faith. But
this all happened. We got I mean, we're at a young age, and to us, this doesn't really mean a lot. It does mean a lot.
Well, when you're 23 or 4 years old,
things are happening.
I didn't realize you guys were so young, which is like,
I mean,
so.
Yeah, you thought these guys might be dead, right?
Not dead. I thought maybe older. You don't
In all due respect,
expect
we should have
young
been
20
Yeah.
something.
We were at the time we were like the youngest captains on the coast for a few years.
Yeah.
I mean, we were 20 years. He was 20. I was 21 when we got our captain's licenses. So we were, we were just kids. We were kids.
Yeah.
I look at my son now. My son's going to be 23 in a few months, and I look at him, and he just seems like a baby still.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything's relative, right?
Yes.
I don't know what year this was filmed, but that guy was like, I just look at my 23-year-old. He's like a baby. Yeah, because 23 and 24 and all that, this day and age, like they don't think like people back in the 80s, right? Because back then you had to critically think. You couldn't just type into Google like, hey, what do we do? But yeah, this will be like these fishermen that we saw that rescued those people in San Francisco. Yeah, Shrummy's holy cow, I believe. Cat Ride, I remember that. The duck boat tour in Branson, Missouri. 17 people were lost. I remember. Didn't they go in like kind of rapid waters? Like it had been not rapids, but like it was a river that was something. I remember that being on the news.
I mean, like 10 years after the fact, after everything. I mean, I've always wondered, whatever happened to the girl we saved? And even like 10 years ago, every once in a great while, it comes up, and I've always wondered.
Shrummy says there's a good book out, Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? I have not read that, but years ago, so when my daughter Morgan was alive, I was in a Bible study, and it was Joni Tata, a book she wrote. I don't even know if Joni Tata's still alive, but it was called Why Our Sufferings Matter to the Almighty. And Joni Tata was this beautiful teenager, and I think she was 18, maybe 16, but she dove off a cliff, essentially like into water, like cliff diving or at a lake or something. I just remember she had a spinal injury and was then in a wheelchair. And she would do all these paintings, like she would put the paintbrush in her mouth, but she wrote books. I mean, she led a lot of worship and wrote books, but I won't go all into it, but that book changed my life because I was in a dark place.
Whatever happened.
Now you know.
You know, we've had other rescues. I was telling, you know,
Yeah.
he brought up the question like, hey, what have you, have you ever done anything? And then we rescued 2 Pongaro fishermen off of Ensenada that were drifting for 6 or 7. They actually, I don't know if you listened to the podcast that
I
we did
did.
earlier, but they actually had written their last will and testimony or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, they wrote letters to their family saying, you know, I love you and this and that. And we found those guys. But over the years, you know, now it's a little bit different. They have vessel assist. So they're, you know, and the communication is better. I mean, we're talking back before GPS.
Yeah.
Like that was before GPS. That was back before digital radars, back before digital sounders, back before a lot of this technology that helps you locate stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the radars now, you could see birds on the ocean.
Oh, wow.
Like if someone was looking for you in the fog, they can find you. I mean, we can with our technology.
Thanks, Peachy. You said, please tell Leslie Johnny Eric Santata is still living and leading her ministry. That's awesome. Laura, you know of her. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while, that book. But it's comforting. It's like God knows every tear you've shed. He knows everything. When people are grieving with you, they're helping to carry your grief. They're shedding tears with you. I mean, it was a lot. It's not like, when people are like, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. I hate that saying. I know people are trying, and like, I don't get upset by that stuff anymore. But okay, I'm digressing. But it is amazing, True Crime Wifey, that these fishermen are finding out what happened after 35 years.
In the military, obviously has better technology than us, but you look at our radars now, like a lot of times when we're looking for fish at night, we turn up the gain so we see birds sitting on like squid nests and stuff. And but that's back when their technology was, just starting to, they were just talking about GPS in the civilian sector.
Yeah.
So
wow. My biggest saddest thing was the fact you lost your whole family. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something I guess hard to deal with or understand.
Uncle.
And you wonder, or you ask why.
Yeah.
And I'll never have an answer for that.
No.
But
accidents happen. I've known of other accidents, not like not of the as big as what happened to you, but I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been on the ocean just with simple things. They're going out fishing for the day, and something happened.
Yeah,
it's just you go out on the ocean, and my dad always told me respect the ocean.
it's beautiful, but yes,
It's beautiful, but there's a lot of people that go out every day that
don't come back.
Don't really have. Well, they come back, and some people, people die out there every year, but you have to really pay attention. I mean, the fog is a bad thing. The weather, like there's guys that come into our tackle store and they're buying bait and hooks and they want to go fishing, and we go, hey, did you look at the weather report? We had a guy just a couple days ago from out of state towed his boat here, wanted to go fishing. We go, hey, there's a storm coming in. And he goes, oh, I'm just going to stay here or there. Well, a few months ago, there was another storm coming in. Some guys came in the shop to buy some stuff, and he go, stay in the breakwater because, and they didn't even realize it. They were from out of state also. And they came in to go fishing for the day. He goes, I've been planning this for 6 months. I'm not going to let the wind stop.
Yeah.
I think they were from Oregon or Washington. They go, we have weather all the time.
Me and Mark, we've been involved in a lot together, and the people that like Mark was saying, the Pongaderos, we come across that. It happens down off Ensenada, but of all the incidents and all the stuff that's happened in our lives, finding Desiree was like the tops, because the proof was there. People passed away at this scene.
Yes.
And to find her, made it that.
And to see you now is just.
Yeah, the fact that she witnessed all of these members dying and she didn't give up. That woman, she's fierce. True Crime Wifey, I believe these 2 men were placed there in the water that day to rescue this child. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And Shrummies, I'm not trying to bad talk. That's why I always say I appreciate people who would try to say something, even if it didn't come out the right way, because it's better than the people who would say, aren't you over that yet? Oh,
Just like,
yeah,
I'll tell you, it's answered a lot of questions I've had, and it's answered a lot of questions you've had. But
did you have any questions for us? I'm just curious. I mean,
No,
there's probably not
I'm just
much that we have
thankful.
to, it's just
No
I'm
questions.
just blown
Just
away.
thankful.
Well,
you're very welcome.
She is. So any of y'all that aren't able to watch because you're driving or something, you should go back and see this. She is a beautiful lady. It's just amazing.
It was an honor to be able to save someone and to see you now is even
A
like
true tater bug. Not only that, Leslie, but she is surprisingly normal and well adjusted in every way, right? So she overcame. I mean, I'm sure she thinks about it every day, but humans are resilient.
Yeah.
I mean, it threw me for a loop. That threw me for a loop. I had
got-
no idea. I had no idea. He goes, you're Hispanic, right?
Right.
You're Latino. You're
Wow,
this is
I'm waiting for her to start speaking Spanish,
do you speak Spanish?
I can get by. not very fluently. I used to be able to, but
I probably speak
I
better
lost
Spanish than
it.
you.
The only thing that would have messed him up if I spoke fluent Spanish and I started rapping to you.
I was afraid of that. I was afraid of that. Well, look, how about this has been such a beautiful moment, but there's another beautiful moment waiting outside, and that's for you two guys who changed her life, saved her life to go out and meet her family. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
Great. I think
Oh my God. Can't stop. Is this her husband and son? Yeah, she's on the water on a dock. Yeah. That was amazing. I'm going to tell y'all the channel name. It's called Friedman Adventures. So, I don't know what the exact address is. It's at Friedman, Friedman, Adventures Podcast. And oh, that is just, thank you so much for sharing. Like, we just needed that, That's a story. We need more of this in our life. Yeah, beautiful mind and beautiful inside and out. Gosh, I don't even want to go to the Lindsay Clancy stuff. But I said I would kind of cover it. So
That's all. And if it comes up, it may come up because of observations I make. I'm not saying that the defendant would be requesting that, but I just kind of wanted to let counsel know how I would handle that if that came up. Then we want to talk just about.
So her attorney's trying to get these other people to testify to what postpartum's like, but they're not considered expert witnesses. We're not going to watch all that. But I thought we'll just watch like a little local news, like a few minute story.
In the Lindsay Clancy murder trial. Now, during a typical jury trial in Massachusetts, 12 people are selected, usually with a couple alternate jurors.
Yeah, that's to ensure the trial can go on should a member of the jury be unable to continue. But with the upcoming Clancy trial, the subject matter could be so intense, 6 alternate jurors.
Yeah, so the trial starts Monday with jury selection, and they're going to choose 18 jurors because they estimate the trial could be 6 to 8 weeks. And also because, it's going to be tough. I can only imagine seeing the photos, but Lindsay Clancy strangled her 3 young children. I believe it was January of 2023. And she's going with a defense strategy of postpartum depression. After she strangled them, she jumped out of her second-story window and did something to her spine, and she's in a wheelchair. So that's her sitting there at the table. She's in a wheelchair. But then if she were to be found, I guess by reason of insanity, I guess that's what they call it. Heck, I don't know. She'd go to a hospital like where Andrea Yates is. but it's going to be a tough one. But I'm going to try to cover it. I mean, I'm not going to like live stream it every day, but I'm going to try to cover it. Yeah, it's outside in Massachusetts, outside Boston. Yes, and thank you so much, True Crime Wifey, for sharing that reuniting story. That was amazing.
Will need to be sat. Clancy is accused of killing her 3 small children before trying to kill herself. So that, begs the question, how do you seat a jury for something like this?
Yeah, she's in a wheelchair, Tater, at the table.
How do you prepare them for the things that they're about to hear?
Our team of Sue O'Connell and John Maroney, they have some answers for us this afternoon. Sue has been in the courtroom for jury selection for several high-profile trials, so we're curious to hear their thoughts. But first, I want to begin with John, who spoke to an attorney about the jury selection process. What did this attorney tell you, John?
Priscilla, typically there are 12 regular members of the jury. You have mentioned 2 alternates, sometimes 4. In this case, there will be 6, and that's because of all the publicity and the fact of the matter that this testimony could be tough.
She was a nurse, a mother, a friend. Not one person has anything bad to say about her.
Accused of strangling her 3 young children to death, Lindsay Clancy will soon face a jury with more than the standard number of jurors, even for other high-profile cases.
Neither the Brian Walsh case nor the Karen Reed case had as many victims and any death of children.
Judge William Sullivan plans to impanel 18 jurors, in part because of the disturbing details. There will be 12 jurors and 6 alternates. The judge is expected to give both sides additional chances to eliminate potential jurors as well. Kevin Reddington is Clancy's defense attorney.
With all the cases I've had, I've never had 18 jurors. Nope, it's always been 16. But Judge Sullivan, obviously recognizing the unusual nature of this case.
Clancy has pleaded not guilty, but the 35-year-old defendant plans guilty. But the 35-year-old defendant, Clancy has
unusual nature of this case.
Well, this guy is like, you can tell old school. I mean, he's got the folding table back here, but then look up above his head. He's got a big old book, and it's got it written on the what do you call that? Like the pages. His last name. We used to have to do that in school. I went to a private Christian school, and we didn't have lockers because you're not supposed to steal. So we had everything in like open cubbies, and all of our textbooks had to have our last names written like that. Shrummies, you hope I cover it. Yeah. I mean, I'm planning to, unless it just gets too upsetting, because I get really upset when people, I mean, obviously I think we all do, kill their children. It's like, okay, I had a sick child. Like, I would have loved a healthy child. Peachy Keen, very kind for your diligence to the community. You're so sweet. Thank you.
Unusual nature of this case.
Clancy has pleaded not guilty, but the 35-year-old defendant plans to argue a lack of criminal responsibility, a so-called insanity defense, because she says doctors mishandled her diagnosis and was over-medicated for postpartum depression. Clancy, who is not denying the allegations, became paralyzed after jumping out of a window at her home trying to kill herself.
I experienced postpartum depression after having my first child, and thankfully I got help immediately.
A law professor, legal analyst, and mother, Margot Lindauer, says she's surprised Clancy is charged with first-degree murder.
I don't believe any parent in their right mind would ever harm their children.
Now, it's unclear how long jury selection will take, but it will.
I think I know very little about this. I know kind of what we've just seen. And I understand she was struggling with meds and asking for help. But the fact that she, and maybe that's part of it, was able, though, to distract her husband or to convince him to go out and do an errand, just sounds like planning. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, her husband supposedly is staying by her side and is going to testify on her behalf. If I understand that correctly.
Will start Monday at Plymouth Superior Court. Well, live in Brockton, John Maroney, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, John, that tees us up perfectly to keep going with this, because many of us have been called for jury duty, but certainly few of us are ever selected to serve for something that's such a high profile and a shocking crime like this. So what is that experience like? NBC 10 Boston, Sue O'Connell is here with us. Sue, you've been in the courtroom for us. You've been our courtroom insider for the trials of Karen Reed and Brian Walsh and Stefan Diggs. You see how juries handle a lot of difficult evidence. What can a juror do if they're feeling overwhelmed or maybe they're too traumatized by what's being presented?
So there were moments in the Karen Reed trial, especially the autopsy photographs, when jurors were visibly upset. I watched one juror raise a hand and ask for a break right in the middle of one of those presentations. You can absolutely do that. You can send a note out through the court officer, and a judge can stop, add a break, or even take a look at whether you can keep going or the jury can keep going for the day.
Isn't this the one that this lady, isn't she the one Turtle Boy like shreds? I can't remember.
But if the judge has ruled the evidence comes in, then it comes in. And I remember one judge telling a jury, look, you didn't have to keep staring at the photos while the witness talked them through, but those photos can follow them back into the deliberation.
Well, and to that point, this can follow them after all of this, right? After this is over with. Is PTSD, is post-traumatic stress disorder among jurors a reality? What happens after a case wraps? Or are resources made available?
So the research is sobering. Some studies have found that as many as half of jurors.
Okay, so y'all are asking how old her children. So daughter Cora was 5, son Dawson was 3 years old, and son Callan was 8 months old. And she used her exercise bands to do it. So when they describe how it would be done, it's horrific.
Reported trauma or depression symptoms afterward. And for a smaller group, it lasted months. And here in Massachusetts, there is a free confidential program for jurors, up to 3 sessions with a counselor by video or phone. About a dozen people a year use it. And after the Tsarnaev trial, the federal judge kept those jurors on the books for another 90 days on paper only, just so.
I feel really bad if those are the jurors' chairs. I mean, you at least need a little cushion and swivel or something. I mean, that's like a doctor's waiting room chair.
They'd qualify for that free counseling. Look, we ask ordinary people to do the worst thing, to look at the worst thing that ever happened to somebody, and the Commonwealth tries to support them afterward, as we should too, because their service is essential to our democracy.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting perspective. Sue, as always, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, we're going to be...
Oh, Ruth Ann, wasn't he Jen McCabe's attorney? He was someone's attorney in the Karen Reed case. I don't know. I'm not sure. If so, that would make sense, because I almost said, because she's wearing a big cross necklace. Lindsay Clancy is. True Crime Wifey. Is Clancy trying to act like Andrea Yates? I need much more background before I'm believing her. I think so. And for somebody like in a wheelchair that's paralyzed, I mean, she sits up so perfectly. I mean, she looks, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Lori said they had made recent changes to her meds and she was having psychosis. Okay, Here for Today says, I actually had a lot of referrals for postpartum depression in my practice. It is real. Oh. Way over medicated. So like maybe things were interacting with other things. I really don't know. So that's kind of why I like to watch trials when I don't know a lot going in. So you don't have that like whole story. Ruth Ann, yeah, horrible. I agree. Yeah, it would be awful to be a juror. So they're going to have 18. It can be treated effectively. What's the best treatment here for today? Is it therapy or is it meds or is it both? Like I know with borderline personality disorder, they say it's therapy. That's the best. Tater, you went on psych meds in your early 30s when children were young. You were not the same person. Yeah, I agree. Lori says the pictures alone would be something she couldn't do. Yeah, and I don't even think she's in jail right now. I think she's in like a mental place. Here for Today says meds are way better now, but only used as last resort. Oh, Lindsay's a former nurse as well. Yeah, Here for Today says, I don't know about hers, though. I don't know this case. Melissa, it's definitely real. I birthed twins, had it bad, never wanted to unalive my kids. Sometimes nurses love to experiment with medications. True. And I've always found nurses that I know, and I mean, a lot of them I'm friends with, right? They're even like anti-pharma, so they won't take stuff. Yeah, I definitely believe postpartum depression is real. Here for Today said the best treatment nowadays is combination of therapy and meds. Some nutritional supplements are also helpful. If danger to others, they need to be admitted inpatient. Wow.
Staying on top of this trial when it begins with jury selection. Again, that'll be on Monday, July 20th. You can follow our live coverage on all of our streaming platforms throughout the proceedings.
All right, so Commonwealth Confidential. All right, I'm going to show one more thing. So I've been doing some research on the Lindsay Shiver. Y'all know I want to cover that one in the Bahamas. And the best update I can find, because it's in the Bahamas, so they don't have, I just said that, they don't have cameras. I mean, they just don't have like the news outlets that we do. But I don't know what this is, but it's called Maynard Worth murder for hire case. All right, so back in July 2023, police in the Bahamas were checking phones during a routine case, and they found a message that changed everything overnight. The message led to Lindsay Shiver, a former beauty queen and mother of 3, whose life looked stable but was falling apart. Lindsay, there were more details about her marriage, affair, and custody fight. So Lindsay, 38-year-old woman, originally from Alabama, but she and her husband were living in Georgia. She was married to Robert Shiver. They had a contested divorce because they're very wealthy. His family is extremely, extremely wealthy, and his parents had a place down in the Bahamas. It's in a very exclusive club kind of thing, but she was apparently having an affair with a bartender. And so then Robert wanted to divorce her, and it just started getting really nasty. So what started as a private family issue quickly escalated into criminal investigation. Lindsay Shiver, along with Terrence Bethel and Fran Newbold Jr., are charged with conspiracy to commit murder under Bahamian law. Prosecutors allege she planned to have Robert Shiver killed, pointing to sources found in an unrelated investigation. So they're investigating this bar robbery down at the Bahamas, and they see on, I think it was Farron's phone, like a WhatsApp message where she said, kill him, because somebody had sent her a text, a picture of Robert out to eat with a girl. So I don't know. So all 3 have pled not guilty. So originally her trial was supposed to be like a long time ago, but now she's hired a different attorney. So she's been in and out of Bahamian jail as well. In 2023, Lindsay and Robert were dealing with a major breakdown in their relationship. He filed for divorce. She pushed back through her lawyers, saying that any relationship she had was after the separation. So February to April of 2023, marriage issues became public. And then July of 23, Lindsay called the police during a dispute about travel plans. That's the video we watched recently where she wanted to go on the private jet and he said no because she was only a 4th owner and the other 3/4 didn't want her on there. She was going to go see her lover and he was taking the boys. On the same night, Robert is seen with another woman and photos are sent to Lindsay, which prosecutors say triggered that. Okay, so the day of that fight in their garage when she's wanting to go on the jet, so she was already riled up. So it was that night. But like to her defense, I mean, sometimes when you're mad, don't you say stuff like, oh, I could kill him? Or I just don't know if they're taking this too far. But now her attorney is arguing she was not in the Bahamas when she sent that. So technically it's not in their jurisdiction. So these are the people in the case. There's Lindsay and Fran, Terrence Bethel. This is the guy she was having the affair or whatever with. And then bottom right, Robert Shiver. So there's really nothing about this Fran guy. I don't really know about him. Okay, here's like the timeline. So in July of 23, Lindsay, Terrence, and Fran were arrested in the Bahamas. She was in a Bahamas jail, which y'all, I mean, I'm talking like buckets as a toilet, like really bad. And then in August of 23, she got to go out on bail with strict restrictions. She had an ankle monitor and she was able, I think, to travel back to the US, and she was supposed to be at home with her parents. December of 23, they plead not guilty. March 24 trial date. Then the March trial was postponed. July 24 pushes the case further. October of 24, bail is revoked because Lindsay and Bethel made media appearances and she was not supposed to. She was on Good Morning America. So she had to return back to the Bahamian prison. So then just Google that sometime. It's rough. In Nassau. Then in December of 24, the appeals court keeps them in custody until trial. February of 25, she got released again under bail conditions. She's at her parents' house in Birmingham, Alabama with an ankle monitor. August of 25, trial was delayed again. And then March of 26, it was delayed again. And then we know she has recently hired a new attorney who was originally the guy for Brian Hooker not long ago. So on July 31st, there's going to be a hearing. So that's coming up, gosh, 2 weeks from tomorrow. And the attorney is trying to get the case dismissed because she did not send the text in the Bahamas. But if it doesn't, then the trial is set for October 20th. So yeah, I don't want to stream what Josh Ritter says about Lindsay Clancy, but I'll have to go back. So that is the deal on Lindsay Shiver. But the reason I am interested in this is because her husband or ex-husband, I think they're divorced now, played football at Auburn, my alma mater. So there you go. But they were living in Thomasville, Georgia, in like a $2.5 million house. Let's see. This is just like, this was about 7 months ago, just a video body cam footage that was released during their whole divorce.
Oh, at my house.
Okay.
It's a lovely situation.
So he just isn't home. He hasn't come home yet? Okay.
Yeah, the reason I really found out about this, Melissa, was that, so Savannah Chrisley was living in Nashville and she started dating Robert Shiver. And they were here. I saw him once out to dinner. And then I was like, oh, what's about this case? So this is her, the beauty queen, they say.
The situation between Lindsay and Robert Shiver has been anything but lovely. Well, now the former housewife is asking the court to help revive her modeling career. The former pageant queen accused of ordering a hit on her estranged husband, Robert, is set to go to trial in March for...
Yes, thank you, True Crime Wife. We always have to remind everybody. She was not an Auburn cheerleader. Like all the headlines are like, former beauty queen and Auburn cheerleader, and he was an Auburn football player. She was not, okay? She went to Troy, and I think she was a cheerleader there. She might have transferred to Auburn, but she was not a cheerleader, nor a Tiger Paw. Thank you. And War Eagle.
Those alleged crimes in the Bahamas. But in the meantime, she's asking the court if she can have her, what she says is her embarrassing GPS monitor removed so that she can become a social media influencer and model. In an exclusive interview with the Daily Mail, Lindsay Shiver claims to have several job offers and needs the ankle monitor removed before she can start doing that modeling work. She's also requesting to move back to Thomasville, Georgia, where she shared that home with Robert and their children in order to get these job offers.
Blue River, you're hysterical. Lindsay needs to be out in the sun more frequently. That's so funny. And Peachy Kane said her neighbor just got arrested an hour ago and now a van is there. We need more details.
So we're asking, will her job offers and modeling and influencing aspirations influence the court to remove her ankle monitor? Let's bring in our guest. I have with me in the studio comedian and media entrepreneur Rachel LaForce. Joining me remotely, celebrity attorney Ben Chu and retired NYPD and Nassau County Police Lieutenant, the owner of Houndstown, USA, Mike Gould. Good morning to you all. Rachel LaForce, ladies first, please. I want to start with you. Your thoughts.
You know, I'll tell you what, as a content creator, I'm like, keep the ankle bracelet. You know, that's your niche. Everybody's a model. Everybody's an influencer. You know, use that niche. Wear that ankle bracelet, you know? And we don't know yet if she actually conspired to kill her husband, but I definitely know she's guilty of being high maintenance. You know, this is quite a request. So I'm really interested to see how the judge will take this in, the seriousness versus if you can see the comedic side of it and really where they're going to land on this, I think is going to be interesting to watch.
Yes. And you're exactly right, Rachel. You're saying what we're all thinking. This is ridiculous. My gosh. Lieutenant Gould, your thoughts on her wanting that monitor off so she can go model?
Yeah. As Rachel said, there is a comedic aspect of this. My first reaction was it's laughable. You know, the discomfort of an ankle bracelet compared to her Gucci shoes really, you know, touches home with me, and I can relate deeply with that. But you know, when I think about this selfishness, she's out on $100,000 bail. She's facing 60 years in a Bahamian prison, and we have American veterans, U.S. veterans, that don't have ankles to complain about. So this is just on one end it's funny, and on the other end it's really disturbing our narcissism in this. And that's my view of this. It's way out of line.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm with you, Lieutenant. Ben Chu, you're a legal eagle on the panel. What do you think the judge is going to say if she actually puts all this in a motion and makes the formal request to the court?
Julie, I think it's going to be a hard no. And I don't know that the judge is going to treat it as humorously as we are. And I think that Michael really hit upon it when he talked about the narcissism. I mean, as with Brian Walsh, this is a woman who has children. And that seems not to factor into any of her decisions, as with Brian Walsh. And it's you know, there's a very sad and tragic aspect to this as well.
Right. Oh, Ben, you're so right. I mean, when you think about it, she's lucky she's not in jail, because what's alleged here is an attempted homicide. It's alleged, but that's still the crime that's been charged.
I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know enough about it, but there's a lot of people all over social media that are like, she is not what she's being made out to be. I will say during one of her home arrests, I think it was the first one, she was dating some different guy in either Georgia or Alabama, and it got into like a physical altercation, and 911 was called. She got a lot of drama for sure. And as for the private jet, yeah, the reason, so Robert's family, yeah, they own Flowers Foods, which y'all can just see. I mean, Simple Mills, Nature's Own, Wonder Bread, Tasty Cake, Sunbeam. I mean, y'all, like, big money.
Here, so she's fortunate to love that ankle bracelet. You embrace it. It's good for you. It gives you freedom. So yeah, she's something else. We've got some more information about this. Apparently, this job offers include modeling, influencing work for a fashion boutique. She's saying also that while she tries to hide the embarrassing bracelet as best she
Fashion boutique. I guarantee you it's one of those like Facebook shops like, hey, y'all, this is Thelma's Boutique down here on the square. Look what we just got in from China. What kind of boutique? I mean, we've all seen that, okay? If anybody's ever seen the video of me in the turkey blouse because what I ordered was supposed to be flowers and florals, and it came in as turkeys.
Can just to skip some routines, things like swimming and, go to the beach, things like that. Rachel LaForce.
She's got some nerve to try to get the ankle monitor off. I mean, that I would have been like, you need to shut your trap if I was her mother.
Your thoughts on this minor inconvenience and her shot at modeling?
I'll tell you what, my heart goes out to her.
Yeah, so she's being charged with this. I am going to do a video next week, and it's going to compare Bahamian law to U.S. law with conspiracy because it's different, like in how you have to prove it. Yeah, she attempted to quote unquote hire a hitman because she sent this text to her boyfriend or whatever with a picture and said, kill him. Now, he was never killed because they were investigating this bar robbery and happened to find this text.
I mean, what a tough gig, You don't get the routine of going to the beach. Sweetheart, that's not a routine, okay? That's a privilege, that is a choice. And I will, what we've commented on the narcissistic aspect of it, and that's the part where it's like, there's not any sympathy here because we don't have empathy for you.
This picture of her cracks me up. She's like in a Veuve champagne t-shirt, yeah. And that's a good picture of her. I mean, she did not look like that. Yeah, Melissa, exactly. I'm not claiming her. She is not Auburn. Okay. Yeah, I know it's hard to find updates on this case. Like, had to go to the friggin' Bahamas newspaper.
Because you're clearly the person's like, well, I deserve to be at the front of the line. I deserve to be. This is what happens, my friend. Whether you did it or not, regardless of this is what happens, and you were a part of the process. You get to wear the bracelet. Congratulations.
There's your prize. Right. I mean, I think her conditional release really isn't bad. She can travel in the United.
That is hysterical. True Crime Wifey. There are YouTube channels that record people on cruises with ankle monitors.
United States, and obviously, that's where she is now. She has to keep it on at all times and be at all the court hearings in the Bahamas. She has to stay at her parents' house in Alabama. She's got to stay away from Robert. That's an obvious one. And his home. And she's only permitted in Georgia for divorce or custody matters. So kind of makes me wonder if it's modeling that has her attracted to Georgia or if it's just, being closer to Robert, maybe. Who knows? All right. So I have some quotes from a previous court appearance. This was read by the prosecution, details some of this case and some of the allegations where she's saying to her co-defendants that she wanted to, quote her word, kill her husband, Robert. After her conditional release, her attorney released this statement saying her defense will look forward to vigorously defending Lindsay because she is innocent. All right, so she allegedly asked her lover to get this hitman, who's like an aspiring rapper, there's that, to kill her husband, Robert. A lot of text messages exchanged that police caught on to. But let's dig in. Is there really enough evidence to prove that she did want this homicide to occur? It's one thing to write something in a text, but in terms of the evidence, what's really, really there? Ben Chu, I would love to start with you this time on this one. Your thoughts, please.
Well, we talked about this the other week about circumstantial evidence and this distinction sometimes people make between evidence and circumstantial evidence. And I think the circumstantial evidence here is very strong. And it's something that she may want to take the stand to address, to say, sure, I said this, but I didn't mean it. I love my husband, the father of my children, that kind of thing. I think she may, unlike Brian Walsh, I think she may be in a position where she needs to testify.
Right, Ben. That's an excellent point, because if we don't have all the corroborating evidence to support the statement, a statement alone, as you know, can't really hold water at the end of the day, at least in the United States courts. We know this is a Bahamian court, so a bit different. Thank you for that. Lieutenant Gould, your assessment of the evidence, if you think this plot was really going to go down if it wasn't foiled by the police.
Yeah, Julie, it's interesting. I don't rely heavily on text. I mean, we all have made inappropriate text. I don't drink, but I've seen people drunk text, and a lot of that can be taken out of context. However, I thought there was a confession. So I would be interested in the confession and how that was. She recanted supposedly during the confession, both guilt and innocence at the same time. But I haven't been privy to that. But I'd be careful with this. It's circumstantial, and when you're going to sentence somebody to 60 years for conspiring to kill the father of your children, we still have to understand she has a presumption of innocence.
Right. That is important, Lieutenant. Thank you. I have a look at some testimony from hubby Robert, ex-hubby Robert Shiver, during a previous court hearing. When the judge asked him about his concerns, he said, quote, "The physical and mental safety for my kids and myself, I'm thankful to be alive." He said, after reviewing the indictment, this was a situation close to happening. I'm concerned for the safety of myself. So he believes he was in danger here. Rachel LaForce, tell us what you think about this and what's going to happen when the trial goes next year.
It'll be something to watch, that I know.
Yes.
I don't know, it's so hard sometimes because, again, what is our intent when we say something? And I know if I was held in a court of even, X or TikTok for anything that I have said,
Right.
I would also probably be going, well, I don't know how much I really
You'd
said
be calling Ben Chu.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly right. I've got your number. And so I think it's going to be really interesting. But I think that certainly when anyone, and I know it's different when it's a woman saying that she felt unsafe versus a man, and that's something to consider. But I think it's definitely something that we need to take a look at and really think about what are the implications behind that. But it's going to be interesting to watch.
Right. And I love that point you just made. That's maybe a perfect point to end on because we were just discussing, the Walsh case. So like you said, Ben, where it's a man and he allegedly killed his wife, and you usually see things that way most often. I'm not saying that spouses that are female don't commit homicides. They do. We've seen it, but it's statistics show it's more often the men. So this is interesting that you hope that doesn't work to his disadvantage here.
Yeah, I don't know, y'all. I'm just not totally convinced on it. I was trying to find the YouTube video that showed the Bahamas prison stuff. Looks absolutely terrifying. Yeah, here for today. I like Julie's orange jacket too. That's like one of my favorite colors. It's a good, nice orange, corally. Oh, the one on the guy. I like the one on Julie. Peachy Kane, you were born in Bama, but raised around Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. Husband's from Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta after college for like 12 years. Yeah, please don't compare Walsh to this case. Yeah. All right. Oh, Lori, yeah, you're from Tennessee. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. I know you're not talking about me, True Crime Wifey. All right. Well, this went longer than I was expecting, but keep watching. So the last I saw on that boat in San Francisco, by the way, is that they are going to probably have to get like a salvage company that's like got the crane thing and get a sling maybe to go under the boat, because when you're pulling a boat that kind of force up, I mean, there's things that are going to break, right? But anyhow, we all know this, and this weekend's the anniversary, the 12 years since Dan Markell was shot and killed. So I made like a little video montage. I took kind of excerpts from the different victim impact statements from his family through the years, and I've released it for members. And then I was like, I just haven't done anything for members in a while, but then I'm going to, I guess, unlock it, whatever you want to say, either tomorrow or maybe early Saturday morning. So it's just like 13 minutes. And I will see y'all. True Crime Wifey, y'all. She's in the chat. She's Maud. She's amazing. She on Saturday is going to do a live, and she's going to go through the whole timeline of the day that Dan was shot, and it'll be really, really good. So definitely be sure and subscribe. And as always, great seeing y'all, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I'm Lindsay B, justice seeker, story keeper, and we're still watching, waiting for justice.